Do you believe in mother? In a mother's womb with two babies, one asked the other, do you believe in life after delivery? The other replied, why, of course. There has to be something after delivery. Maybe we are here to prepare ourselves for what we will be later. Nonsense, said the first. There is no life after delivery. What kind of life would that be? The second one said, I don't know. But there will be more light than here. Maybe we walk with our legs and eat with our mouths. Maybe we will have other senses that we don't understand now. The first replied, that's absurd. Walking is impossible. And eating with our mouths? Ridiculous. The umbilical cord supplies every nutritional need, everything we need. But the umbilical cord is so short, life after delivery is to be logically excluded. The second one insisted, well, I think there is something, and maybe it's different than it is here. Maybe we won't need this physical cord anymore. The first replied, nonsense. And moreover, there is life. If there is life, then why has no one ever come back from there? Delivery is the end of life. And in the after delivery, there is nothing but darkness and silence and oblivion. It takes us nowhere. Well, I don't know, said the second one, but certainly we will meet Mother, and she will take care of us. The first replied, Mother? You actually believe in Mother? That's laughable. Mother exists, then where is she now? The second said, she's all around us, and we are surrounded by her. We are of her. It is in her that we live. Without her, this world would not and could not exist. Said the first, well, I don't see her, so it is only logical that she does not exist. To which the second replied, sometimes when you're in the silence and you focus and really, really listen, you can perceive her presence. And you can hear her loving voice calling down from above. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you for giving all of civilization life. There is not one of us here without a mother. It is good to be back. It is good to be done with 10 senior exams. The beginning of birthing a minister has actually started. It's like, I feel a bit like being an EMT. I've actually had the honor of delivering, or as more accurately, catching. Because trust me, mom's doing the delivery. We're just catching. 3 infants, and I feel like in terms of ministry, I'm in transition. It's like things are starting to dilate. I can see the end. I'm actually going to be birthed. So we have these overall themes with Science of Mind that we can opt into. Now, I don't know if it was just my copy. I haven't had a chance to check in with some other folks yet. But typically when we open the outline and the suggestion for a particular Sunday, there's a potential title that we can use. There's some outline stuff. There's some quotes. I opened the one last week for today, and the suggested title was the title of the Word document. And when I opened it up, there's nothing there. the title that they used is Fear to Courage. And I'm like, okay, is this someone's idea of just funny? Because this month is creativity, so okay, here you go, create, blank slate. I was like, okay. And being Mother's Day, you know, we all have so many layers of experiences with Mother's Day. Some of us as mothers, all of us, unless you know something I don't know. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say everybody sitting here has a mother somewhere. But we have different relationships with our mothers. And some of us it was great, and some of us not so much. And some of us it was great and it wasn't and it was. And some of us it was, you know, a roller coaster. And what I most want you to get today is that every bit of that is normal. It's normal. The talk title that I'm operating from this morning is The Courage to Create. Because we're all creating, whether you want to be or not. Belief creates. Period. There's no escaping it. So if you're operating from the delusion that you're still working on getting your thoughts together to start creating, just know that the thoughts that you have now are creating now. And Ernest Holmes talks about in the Science of Mind book that attempting to prove and declaring that the creative process doesn't work, and then not creating because we say it doesn't work, in fact proves that it does work by not working it. There's just no way around it. It works. And it works all the time. It works every time. Relating that to Mother's Day, how does creation happen? It happens in chaos. Absolutely nothing gets created without chaos. No gem gets polished without friction. If you've ever been pregnant, you know there's a whole lot of chaos going on in your body. Chaos is creative. This is the part that blows my mind about creation and the example that the divine gives us with women and mothers. Half of a set of chromosomes, the likelihood biologically of them finding each other is so remote. When you run the numbers on how many pairs never meet up, it's an infinitesimal chance that anybody ever gets pregnant. Now, I know if you've had an unexpected pregnancy, you're going, wrong. But in the scheme of biology, that is such an incredible unlikelihood. And so we have 50 and 50 come together to make a whole. That single cell goes about this amazing process of replicating itself identically. There is no scientist on this planet that can take that first ball of cells and tell one cell from the other. They're identical. And then at some point, in this chaotic process, chaos really begins to happen. And this cohesive, peaceful, identical ball of cells, again, science has no explanation for this. They begin to differentiate. Something in some intelligence, some brilliance in those cells knows become a liver, become a kidney, become a brain, become an arm, become a nose. All from one cell that replicated itself identically. How does it know? How does that group of cells know, A, how to differentiate and when to differentiate? I don't know. Other than there is something way bigger than us operating here. And I live with that. I can feel that. That chaos in that little cell ball sends the host into quite a bit of chaos. All the hormones are now re-establishing themselves, rebalancing, and are in complete disarray, usually for the first trimester. Some people have no morning sickness. That's rare from what I understand. We got mood swings, we got morning sickness. Thoughts become different because our thoughts are driven by our brains being bathed in hormones. So if you change the balance of the hormones in the brain, the thoughts are going to be different. Chaos is creative. There's no way around it. And then as things begin to settle in, there's a different kind of chaos that happens for mothers. Their identity begins to change. Because, especially for first-time mothers, this is who I've been my whole life. I've been me. And all of a sudden, who am I now? Am I a mother yet? When exactly do I become a mother? It's like looking at a coin and trying to determine where heads stops and tails begins. Am I a mother at the point where birth actually happens? Am I a mother at the point of conception? Because the same chaos happens in the body whether there is a live birth as a result or not. Do we take the time to honor the courage that it takes to create? Because there ain't nothing wimpy about being pregnant or being a mom. And those of you that have been there, are preaching to the choir. And for those that haven't, what would it be like if we took all of our mom issues and looked at them from a different lens? What if we changed the lens on the movie projector and started looking at the lens of what it took to give us life? What it took for whoever birthed you to change in order to bring you into the planet. Some are better equipped than others. Some had better support than others. Some wanted to be a mom, some did not. And how much courage did it take for those who didn't necessarily want to be a mom to say yes? To allow their body to embrace that chaos and to say yes to life. I think that must take a profound amount of courage. I think it takes a profound amount of courage when that's all you can think about is getting pregnant and having babies to do it. Because being a parent, maybe it's just me. I had this little idea of what being a parent looked like. Our children have a different scenario. And they're not consulting us. There's never that conversation of, hi, I'm here, and I chose you to be my parent. how would you like me to grow up? I'm here to serve you. That doesn't happen. And so our identity is constantly shifting and changing in relationship with this brilliant individual that calls us mom. Okay. Holy wow. That's my new phrase. It came about through my exams. I just said, holy wow. Mothers are amazing. Because no matter what is required of them, they find a way to be with it. I don't know any other human beings except maybe a few rare EMTs and deputies that can sit there and deal with bodily fluids of all shapes and sizes while they finish eating. And I've watched mothers do that all the time in amazement. I'm like, nothing but respect. These are the things that most of us don't stop and think about when we're having our mom issues. We focus on what they weren't instead of what they were. And how often do we do that with our own life? How would our own lives change if we focus on what we are instead of what we're not? Because I assure you, as we started out, your thoughts are creative. If you focus on what you're not, you're going to get more of what you're not. It's just going to anchor your notness more deeply in your being until you are literally one big knot. Wondering how to unravel yourself. What if we change the lens? How would your own experience, if you took the rest of today and spent it in quiet reflection with a different lens of how courageous your mom was, how would it change, A, how you look at her, but more importantly, how you look at you? Because we see ourselves as a product of our issues with our moms. Again, maybe it's only me. Maybe I'm the only one that has a list of I'm this way because. Maybe my list is the only one that starts with mom. See, mom's an easy target. She's an easy target because I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for her. See, so that qualifies her to be blamed for everything. Tell the truth, I'm not the only one. How would it change if we stood in our truth and just for a split second recognized that without her, you would not be here? Now somebody might be here with your name, but it wouldn't be you. Because the only you had to come through her. There's only one. I thought about how to make this relevant to everybody. The dads, the folks that aren't moms. And I was driving home from class yesterday. And it was like, our Mountainside community, we're like in our third trimester. All over again. We're birthing something new. You know, I realized that I've been here like 2.5 months, so we're like in our third trimester. And what are we birthing? What kind of morning sickness are we having? Because if we think we're going to do this process without some chaos, there's no way to create without chaos. If you have a cabochon or a faceted stone on in any of your jewelry, do you know how those are made? It's a series of diamond wheels. The first one is a really high grit, and it grinds away what doesn't belong. Literally grinds away what doesn't belong. And then as it takes shape, the lapidary artist goes down to finer and finer diamond wheels, polishing what does belong. Nothing is created without friction. Nothing is created without chaos. And can we as a community embrace what we're birthing? Can we embrace the morning sickness of our first trimester together? Can we just settle into, okay, this is normal. This is normal. And begin to allow our identity to shift. Just like a mother begins to let, a woman lets her identity shift from independent woman to mother. Our identity as a community is in a shift. This is what it was 3 months ago. Do we know what we're moving to? We probably think we do. Just like a mother thinks she knows who her child's going to be. But she has an image in her head. This is what motherhood's going to be. The first time. Second, third, fourth time. When I understand, that fantasy's gone. So this is not the first time that Mountainside has been rebirthed. So can we lean into what we've learned from those other rebirths? Allow the friction to take away what's not needed. See what's here and be about the business of polishing that. And then comes raising children. Last time I checked, that was multiple adventures every day. I initially thought it was a new adventure every day, and then I got a little more real. It's like, no. There are multiple adventures throughout the day. There's the adventure of getting up in the morning. There's the adventure of getting dressed in the morning. There's the adventure of where did you put your clothes that I put on you, put them back on. There's the adventure of we were ready to go and now you're naked again. What happened? Adventure. There's the adventure of why is your teacher calling me? I don't want to answer my phone. And now that we have technology, we can see who's calling. And so now mothers get to have the, oh my God, before they answer the phone instead of when they answer the phone. Will we allow ourselves to lean into our own journey of chaos and our own journey of change? Honor that journey. Honor the people in that journey. And especially the one who brought us here. And it's not easy. There's nothing easy about it, especially for those of us that had really challenging relationships with our moms. But what I'll tell you from my own experience is that when I settle into the truth that I am one of 3 human beings, and only 3 human beings, that have heard my mother's heartbeat from the inside. That shifts things for me. Spirit is never confused between the actor and the action. Never. I am often confused. often get stuck focused on the action and forget about the actor. And the truth is, the actor is perfect. It's the activity, it's the action that we dislike. My mom is just as perfect as the one who created her. Her actions, not so much. She was one of the ones that was not really well equipped to be a mom. Nor, if I step back far enough, she didn't have the greatest role models. And she absolutely had no support to change. And so she was flying by the seat of her pants, doing the very best she could do. Now, I'm alive, and I'm fairly well balanced. As far as I can tell, if I'm being really honest, she didn't do any irreparable harm. And why didn't she do irreparable harm? Because she can't. Because the core of me is untouchable. The same part of me that is perfect is the same part of her that's perfect. And that part cannot be harmed. That's the part that the reading talks about. It's all around us, that we are in, and that is in us. That is the very spark of divinity. The changeless spark, that perfection. We get that. We get to experience that because some woman said yes. And that's the only reason we get to experience it. Some woman said yes. I will birth you. I will have the courage to allow creation of you to come through me. Thank you. Everyone that was birthed, thank you. The rest of us, we get to birth something really amazing here. Join me in that. Join me in the messiness. Join me in the chaos of creation. And do so honestly. Do so respectfully. Do so with the same wild abandon that the human body does when it steps into creation. Be with it. Feel it. Let the questions come. Ask them. Answer them. Fully participate. Because there is no doubt in my being, just like I imagine there's no doubt in a mother's being when she knows she's pregnant. It's something amazing is being birthed. Something amazing is being birthed. Let's take this in prayer. As I breathe, I recognize that it is life breathing me. That it is the one doing for me what I have no idea how to do for myself. I know how to exist with breath, but in truth, I have no idea how to breathe. It just happens. I have no idea how to beat my heart. It just happens. And just as every mother had no idea how to make her body do what it does in the creative process, to make her body grow a life, to make her body a host, to make her body deliver. We say yes, just as motherhood teaches us. to embrace the divine birthing itself in us, as us, through us. We say yes to that creative process and to the courage that it takes to lean into that with joy, with consciousness, to simply say, yes, use me. Use me. Without knowing where that's going, without knowing how that's going to look, and yet simultaneously being very clear of the absolute lack of control that is going to be had. And saying yes to the adventure, yes to the learning as creation continues. That even after the birth, the creation continues as the divine is individualized over and over again with each birth. As the divine is reframed and re-understood and experienced at different levels for a mother who gives and gives and gives, and who shows up to be with her creation. This is the activity of divinity that we live in, that lives in us. And so I speak my word this day that we show up to partner consciously, affirmatively, joyfully, gratefully, taking responsibility for our beliefs, taking responsibility to clear up any confusion that we run into so that we are no longer confused between the actor and the action. That we see the action and we remember compassion and we embrace the actor for the truth of who we each are. Divinity in form. Just as a mother embraces the child beyond the behavior over and over again. This is the call to action for each of us, with ourselves, with our mothers, with one another, with our community, with our greater community of Placerville, of El Dorado County, California, of our nation, of our world. To no longer be confused or focused on the actions, but to remember truth about every actor as we rebirth and birth anew the creation of our consciousness. Grateful for this opportunity to be of service. Grateful for every moment to stand in that place of just use me. Just use me. And witnessing and celebrating how every yes is met with a yes. And so in this gratitude, I release my word into that activity of love and law. I said yes before I spoke it. Only knows yes. And I simply let it be. And I invite you to join me as we anchor this together by saying, and so it is. I love you guys. In a place that I didn't even know love lived.